eighth wonder of the world, basically a geek show. And here are your hosts, Mike and Jack.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 65 of Basically a Geek Show. I am Mike. With me, as always, is Jack.
I think this might actually be basically a drunk show. I mean, more so than it usually is. I mean, it always is to a certain degree.
Yeah, but to those, whatever. I was in a bit of an accident.
And we're not talking about him shitting himself again.
No.
We're talking like you know what you did with Hot Wheels when you were like 3?
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened to him.
So my leg has been a bit on the sore side, to say the least. So, the sweet brown liquor dulls the pain, okay? I don't judge you in your home, so shut up! Anyway, moving on.
Because the wonderful socialist Canadian healthcare system would not give you decent pain meds.
They gave me pain meds, but,
I wanted decent pain meds.
You ask... you ask for, like, Oxycontin, and suddenly the doctor starts throwing around words like addicted.
Well, I mean, okay, they gave you a shot of, Demerol, which is kind of like a as far as I know, I'm not like a painkiller expert. Mm-hmm. That would be the other people who live in Kentucky. But, they gave you Demerol, which is kind of like, as far as I know, a mid-grade kind of thing. And then, what did they give you for a take-home script? Was it like fucking Tylenol 3 or some shit?
No, I'm not sure what it is. It wasn't Tylenol 3. It was a prescription. It's got some long, complicated name, and the bottle of it's in my bathroom, so fuck that shit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I've definitely, it's definitely not knock you on your ass and make you happy.
So here we are, and basically we're just kind of buzzed, and we felt like recording a show, and so here the fuck we are.
There's one topic I want to broach, and I think it's about time we talk about something Transformers-related, because for the past couple of shows, we haven't really talked about Transformers stuff, and then I've been posting it on TFW, and no one said anything yet. But it is under the Transformers fan video section on that forum.
We did too. We went over,
that's right. We went over some Titans Return stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and I've seen a picture of Astro Train the other day.
Oh, yeah. What do you think of Astro Train?
Pretty fucking sweet. I would get.
I'm of two minds on that. First of all, I'm kind of at the opinion where I'm definitely getting the Sentinel Prime version of that mold first.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sentinel Prime is Tyroxors.
Well, see, okay, I have nostalgia for Astro Train.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first triple changer I ever got.
I'm sorry you got the one with, the two most useless alternate modes.
Oh, yeah, and I actually recall the toy itself being kind of flimsy and cheap.
And and his big plan for ruling the world involved remote control trains.
Not unlike my own. But
speaking of which, we bring it up every now and then, but I never want to miss an opportunity to praise that episode as quite possibly the greatest episode in all of G1. On all of Transformers, actually.
So we go over to my aunt's house. It was what she gave me for Christmas that year. Every Christmas, we would go over to my aunt's house, and my mother and my grandmother, neither one of them could stand this woman. And once I kind of attained this age of semi-sentience, I said, "You don't like her. Neither of you do. Why do we go?" Keep in mind, I'm fucking 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Because she invited us.
Yeah, that's how a lot of Jewish families operate, actually.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, the word no exists for a reason, and I know there's a way to do it politely. But anyway, so we go over to her house for was it Christmas? Yeah, Christmas.
Is this Carol?
No, this is Bethel.
Oh, okay.
And so we go over to her house for Christmas, and unwrapping the gifts or whatever. And I mean, at least from the perspective of a kid, I knew that she was fucking loaded. So there wouldn't be really a crap gift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would basically be, okay, here's the Sears catalog, what do you want? Kind of a thing.
Except Megatron, you can't have him because violence.
Right, yeah. because Megatron might make me violent. By the way, nuke everything south of the equator except Australia.
Trump
Anyway,
2016!
right? And, yeah. So, unwrap it, and it's Astro Train, and it's all like, yeah, fucking Astro Train! And the toy itself was actually kind of shite. I mean, because you had, like, these fucking cheap-ass panels that were, like, two-way, like, on one half, on, like, one side they were Space Shuttle, and one half they were quote-unquote train, which are basically just, like, molded on, like, cosmetic wheels.
Yeah, you know, it was the 80s. It was probably their first attempt at a triple changer ever.
Oh, yeah, I get it. And I don't know. Still, Astro Train does kind of have, like, this nostalgic thing for me. So, yeah, I would get Astro Train.
I'm
Except this time there would be no horrendous fruitcake served to accompany it.
Sentinel Prime, I'm definitely getting the Sentinel Prime version that comes out before Astro Train. As for Astro Train himself, you've seen the Titans Return one, right? Yeah, obviously, yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that when the whole Generations line first kicked off way back in the distant year of 2006, they had a Classics Astro Train that I picked up, and I've actually still got in my collection, and here's Classics Astro Train, just so you can see the difference. And I don't know, it's kind of like, for my perspective, since I still got Classics Astro Train, like, do I get the new one?
Yeah, you do, because that's horrible.
He's awesome.
No, it's not. That doesn't look like anything like Astro Train.
What do you mean? How does he not look like that? He's a purple and white space shuttle man.
Okay. Have you seen the original Astro Train, Mike? Have you actually fucking seen it?
The toy or the cartoon?
Either!
I've seen both, yes!
You need to go call your dad right the fuck now and be like, hey, Dad, I'm fucking blind. Because that looks nothing like, okay. Like, shape-wise, yes. Color-wise, no.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, but the original Astro Train was gray, right? Like, Astro Train's gray.
Like,
but, like, space shuttles are white. Right? I mean, I don't know.
And what the fuck is up with the fucking hot pink?
It's actually, that's just bad photography. It's basically just standard, like, it's just like a slightly brighter than usual red in hand.
Well, whatever. Yeah, no, the new one's way better than that piece of shit.
I don't know. I'm just trying to justify not buying two versions because I'm definitely getting Sentinel Prime, and I'm just sort of like, do I want to get the repaint that's Astro Train? Like, I don't know. I probably will, but I'm kind of doing that mental gymnastics thing in my head. You know what?
At least you've got a fucking choice. At least you have a choice in Transformers, because I swear to fuck, dude, like 2 weeks ago, I go back to Walmart, and I'm like, oh, let me see what Transformers they got this time, because maybe, I don't know, someone got out their fucking ass and ordered some. Oh, it's even worse.
How so?
All they had was a beat-up box of fucking Skywarp.
Oh, the Leader Skywarp?
Yeah, which I would get if I had the $40 to blow, but I don't, so I won't. I mean, fuck, really? So yeah, at least you live where you can get the things and the stuff, because fuck.
Oh, it's distribution. Or
the lack thereof.
But, Anyway, the main Transformers topic I kind of wanted to broach was FunPub, and I got this email because I actually am a Transformers Collectors Club member. But FunPub, who runs the Transformers Collection Club, it's a third party company. It's not affiliated with it is affiliated with Hasbro, but it is not part of Hasbro. It's its own thing. They've been running the G.I. Joe and Transformers fan clubs and conventions for about 10 years now at this point. Yeah, maybe a bit longer. And we all got an email basically saying that all club memberships are going to terminate on December 31st of this year, and that Hasbro and FunPub are parting ways, and that basically FunPub will not be running BotCon or JoeCon any longer after this year. So that's it. Hasbro has cut the cord of FunPub.
I say about fucking time.
I mean, I've got a bit of a more muted response on that, but yeah, no, there definitely is a degree of about time to this because, well, let's remember the credit card fiasco where their site was hacked and everyone who had who had a credit card on file with them, which was every single member because you need to give them your credit card info just to pay for a membership. All of that information got hacked, and it was a huge kerfuffle, and then a bunch of fans nominated Swindle for the Hall of Fame that year. This is why you don't let the internet vote on things.
Yeah.
The good folks at PepsiCo learned that the hard way. But, yeah, I mean, and it's not even a case, you can't even really say, well, it happens. It would be one thing if they did everything right on their end and someone just got through and it happened. That's one thing. But it's not. Because FunPub, and I know this firsthand, FunPub is stuck in FunPub believes it is still 1995. Do you know how I actually had to pay for my membership last time I renewed for the Transformers Collectors Club?
Money order?
No. Oh, no.
Diners Club card.
No.
Discover.
No. Well, I had to send them a check, basically. I had to send them a check.
Because they're too afraid to take credit card information now?
It's a weird thing with Canada, but that's not even the start of it. I had to send them the check, but only after I faxed them a form that I printed out from their website.
Wait,
I had to print it out from their website, I had to fill it out, and then I had to fax it to them.
Fax?
I had to go to the fucking post office. I don't even have a fax machine anymore.
What the
And I've got a fucking Sega Genesis and a VCR, and I don't have a fax machine.
I've even got one of the answering machines that leaves the tapes. I used to have Bill Cosby, but then people started bitching for some reason. I don't know.
But yeah, so I had to fax them, and then they're like, well, okay, we received your fax, now send your check. And then, I sent my check, and then I saw that it cashed, and then next thing I heard from them was like 2 months later when the membership, the magazine that they send out to members every 2 months came by, and I was like, oh, well, okay. I guess all that went off without a hitch. I'm sure this was all excitingly convenient back in 1995. But my point being that when they weren't taking credit cards on their website, FunPub had a habit, basically their internet security hadn't been updated since the late 90s, which is why everything got hacked, because somebody just came in and fucking kicked down the cyber door and looted everything. Because their website was stuck in this time loop. So people's, credit cards were endangered because they couldn't be bothered to fucking update. So, yeah.
And let's not, okay, even that, no, I mean, and that's horrible. I mean, that's, unforgivable. Mm-hmm. But let's not even just that. Mm-hmm. Let's look at their offerings for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, what was it, the Pirates and the Knights?
The Pirates and the Knights of BotCon. Yeah,
where they, kind of halfway through were just fuck it.
I was actually excited for Autobot Paladins to start, for the start, and then that kind of petered out in very short order.
And, okay, the thing here is, and you and I discussed this
last BotCon, by the way, wasn't... last BotCon was just absolutely pitiful. It was Cybertron's Most Wanted, which was basically an excuse to release a bunch of Transformers without a theme and then be like, they're all Cybertron's Most Wanted!
They should have had one with, Ratchet. It's just, an all-white van. Or maybe, one of Ratchet just with, ice cream paint on the side. Looking really sketchy.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord, because pedophiles. It's funny.
But, yeah, so even that, the themes have been getting progressively worse. But you were saying something before I cut you off there?
Ooh, never mind. I'm not going to make a silver bolt joke with terrorism. I mean, it would have been really easy to redo the head mold to have this turban kind of thing going around. Aloha snack bar, You taught me that one.
Yes.
I'm hip with the kids.
So, the themes have been getting progressively worse. There's been just sort of, from what I gathered from people who go to BotCon regularly, the convention experience is sort of I guess, stagnated. It's all kind of very, there's always been a problem with lines, with certain exclusives. There was that whole Soundwave headband exclusive where they did Shattered Glass Soundwave as one of the exclusives one year. And Shattered Glass Soundwave is sort of like a party dude, and they gave him a bandana to sort of wrap around his head in the art. And when they released these cheap-ass bandanas they were charging $5 for to put on your toy, and they were the biggest pieces of garbage ever. So, and again, kind of just illustrating the stuck in a time warp kind of thing, it's just, it kind of just seems like the idea of paying a third-party company to come in and manage a convention is a very 1990s way of doing business. And Hasbro has been experimenting with running their own conventions in China for the last couple of years. So it seems to me that this is just Hasbro going, we're going to take over things directly.
Right. And, okay, I've kind of seen this coming for a while now, or at least maybe not seen, because that would involve me devoting more thought to this kind of shit than I really do. But, I've had the thought several times, usually around BotCon time, where you and I are, going over the exclusives, and then, last year, where you're talking about the fucking, the parking clusterfuck.
Mm-hmm.
Shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, last year was another thing that kind of just shows that Fun Pub really doesn't have their head on straight with a lot of lists. Basically what happened was they advertised last year's BotCon as taking place in Chicago, except it actually isn't in Chicago. It was at some, country club hotel combo out in, like, the boonies outside of Chicago. And it was something like a 40-minute drive from the airport.
Right.
So, and they weren't providing transportation, so basically you flew into Chicago O'Hare Airport, right? And then you're like...
Then
yes.
You're shaking down for protection money.
And then it's like, well, I guess I've got to spend, a couple $100 to rent a car now. And then they eventually did work out transportation, but it involved actually going into the city of Chicago, getting off at a few subway stops, and then getting to a bus terminal, and then they would drive you from the city of Chicago to this resort, which actually added more time to the trip, so, time-wise, it actually made more sense to just rent a car and go. So, yeah, last year's parking transportation nonsense was just redonkulous.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, this leaves the obvious question of, well, what's going to happen now? And you and I kind of had two different ideas about what might happen. Mm-hmm. I will admit yours is probably the correct one. Mm-hmm. But I initially had this idea of, okay, well, maybe Hasbro is, wow, my lava lamp looks like it is just suspended in time at the moment. Not a thing is moving. It's just sitting there, and it's really odd. That's not natural. Anyways, we were really drunk. So, there's two different ways this could go, and I said, okay, well, maybe they're going to, instead of, one big centralized Hasbro-endorsed convention, they're going to give everyone some love.
Well, they've already revealed stuff at, they've already done the whole Toy Fair, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con trifecta, I guess. So there is the argument that they would just expand their presence at all three of those.
Yeah, and maybe, maybe for you, even give fucking TFCon some love.
That would definitely be nice. That would definitely be nice, and make it, I guess, easier for fans to interact with Hasbro, because you've got kind of three or four locations, I guess, that you can always get at. Well, yeah, it would be three, because New York Toy Fair and New York Comic Con obviously the same location. But right. The reason why I think that Hasbro is just going to take over a direct, I guess, BotCon replacement, and there is still no word out on what's going to happen to BotCon necessarily. The 2016 one is still going to be under FunPub's watch. That's going to take place later this year, actually in Louisville.
Oh, well, when exactly?
April next month.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, fuck all. Oh well, missed opportunity.
Indeed, and we're going to be in Pennsylvania anyway, so
yeah.
But
we'll have to do a bags recording in PA, and have a few minutes of just us on the fucking balcony, just yelling down, yelling maybe I don't know, racial slurs at people as they walk by or something. I don't know.
But but yes,
you'll be like, Jack, what the fuck is a pepper? I don't know. The fucking peppers, they come over here and they do things.
Pepperhead is slang for French Canadian, actually.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking pepperheads.
Pepperhead, it's one of a few. There are a few others that I'm not going to get into right now. But basically, BotCon 2016 is happening. Nobody knows what's going to happen with BotCon 2017. There are some people who say that there might not be 2017, that Hasbro might take the year off to sort of line everything up for 2018.
No, I don't see that happening.
But I do think that Hasbro is going that basically BotCon will continue in some form as a Hasbro event. One, Hasbro employees who interact with the fandom have indicated that they rather like doing the whole BotCon thing, that they like having a dedicated Transformers convention. And two, for all the reasons that FunPub, that the contract of FunPub could be, ending, Profitability is probably not one of them. BotCon, at least I believe BotCon is a very, very profitable venture. So I can't see Hasbro just being like, nope, not going to do it anymore. Especially now that they don't have to pay FunPub to run it. They can just run it themselves and collect the profits. My biggest concern with FunPub leaving is that, okay, as bad as the exclusives tended to get in the latter years of their tenure, I think if you look at FunPub's exclusive their exclusive toys is a whole body of work from when they first got the license till now, you do see that they were willing to give fans stuff that Hasbro would never do. A lot of toys that, we got updated Metal Hawk, we got a Overlord Gigatron, that whole Pirates and Knights thing even gave us, one of the few good figures in it. We got a Alpha Trion. Now we see Alpha Trions happening in Titan's Return, but a few years back, when that whole Pirates and Knights thing was happening, that didn't seem possible. Even with their Combiner Wars subscription service, getting Needle Nose, Spinister, I think, is one of them, getting another Bludgeon. Point being that when it came to exclusives, they at least had the right mindset of, we're going to give fans something that they can't really get anywhere else. It didn't always pan out, and there definitely seemed to be more misses than hits in the latter end of things, but all in all, they seem to come at it with the right idea. Hasbro has done exclusives themselves. There have been San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, there have been New York Comic-Con exclusives, but mostly the past couple of years, it has just been like, here's a toy that you can get at retail, but it's Chrome, like Metroplex with Chrome, or Devastator with Chrome. And that's sort of my fear of a Hasbro directly run BotCon, that we're going to miss out on some of those exclusives that FunPub would do, and we're just going to get Hasbro being like, here is a chromed version of a toy that you can get for like $15-20.
Okay, I'm going to actually play devil's advocate for a moment on that, because I think I think in the last couple of years, Hasbro has shown that they are stepping out of their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. We're seeing shit come out, like you said, with Alpha Trion. We're seeing shit, official sanctioned Hasbro releases that are coming out that 5 years ago we never would have thought we would have seen.
Oh, well, no, definitely. Even 2 years ago. As early as 2 years ago, the standing party line at Hasbro was, we can't do combiners, it's not feasible. And then Combiner Wars happens.
Which is stupid, because they did it fucking 30 years ago.
Well, their argument, right, was that they didn't want to commit like an entire wave to one combiner team, because it's like, what if, little Jimmy's mom doesn't want to buy him 5 toys around like the same time? Like, then little Jimmy's only got like 2 arms and like a foot.
Well, again, they didn't give a shit about that back in the fucking 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
And here's another thought. Well, why don't you just fucking keep the production runs going longer to give people time that don't have the fucking money time to fucking get the whole goddamn thing? Mm-hmm. There's a fucking crazy thought. Mm-hmm. Maybe make it to where people who can't afford to buy everything they want to get, maybe make it to where, those people have the time to fucking get the shit. Mm-hmm. But, but I digress. Yeah, I think Hasbro, they could probably come out with some exclusives for quote-unquote BotCon, whatever they want to do with it. They'd probably
they've been calling their convention in China the last couple of years that they've run directly CyberCon, so it wouldn't shock me if they made that, if they just sort of retired BotCon to FunPub.
I don't know. I mean, unless like FunPub has some kind of rights to the name of the convention.
I don't believe they do.
I think they'd probably keep calling it BotCon just to kind of convey the image. Hey guys, everything's still the same. You're in your safe space, kind of a thing.
I don't know who owns the BotCon name. I know there was a bit of a kerfuffle years ago over who owned the BotCon name, and I know it eventually got settled. I just can't remember if the trademark ended up going to Hasbro or FunPub.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So barring any kind of legal issues, I think it'd probably still be called BotCon if that's what they do with one centralized convention or whatever. They're not going to miss out on the publicity. They're just not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to miss out on the unveilings and all the media attention that they get.
And they get media attention. The release of Titan's Return actually got a few mentions in USA Today, surprisingly enough.
Really?
Yeah.
And for one, I want to see a 2016 election BotCon exclusive. Trump Prime anybody.
Or Trumpatron.
Or Trumpatron. Depending on which... Make both. Depending on which side of the argument you're on. You know, you can have one of each. No voter left behind.
He has a ball cap that says "Make Cybertron Great Again."
No, it'd be like a headmaster, except his hair would just transform into its own fucking thing.
Oh,
you could do it like a Soundwave mold, and you could have not to stick the word Tron at the end of everything, but just because I'm drunk, you could have like Jebratron come out of his fucking chest.
I still like the idea of Soundwave as Mitt Romney with Paul Ryan as as Rumble.
No one calls Mitt Romney uncharismatic.
You have Donald Trump being like, "No one would follow an uncharismatic bore such as yourself," and then he'd be all like, "Trump inferior, Romney superior." No one calls Mitt uncharismatic.
Indeed. Yeah, we totally should have that. That should be a thing.
Ted Cruz's Starscream.
Oh Lord.
Oh, this is too good.
Pathetic fools.
Ted Cruz always looks like he's got a hamster desperately trying to claw its way out of his ass.
And you would know.
Oh, fuck off.
It's funny because butt sex.
But anyway, that's sort of our Transformers, I guess, roundup. But, I don't know. FunPub is FunPub, and at the end of the day, we all...
bollocks.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. I do expect some sort of official convention, and I expect Hasbro will be running it, and hopefully they get someone else to work on the exclusives, because
I think they'll probably just do it in-house, honestly. I mean, they've shown a lot of innovation and a lot of willingness to kind of step outside their previously perceived box.
Mm-hmm.
I see them doing it themselves, honestly, and they'll probably be better exclusives than what the fucking crap that FunPub's been putting out.
There's definitely that possibility. There is definitely that possibility.
Also, quite possibly, the fucking fraction of the cost.
Yeah, FunPub did like to gouge their prices.
So,
I believe just the basic ticket to BotCon has gone up something like $10 every year for the past 5 years or something. But
how much is it now?
How much is it now?
I mean, don't go looking anything up. I just didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
No, I don't know off the top.
But I mean, if it's gone up by $5 or $10 for the past 5 years, and it's at least $50, which is frankly more than I would fucking
I
pay.
know it's over 50. I know. In fact, I'm like 99% sure it's over 300.
Like, okay, here's the thing, right? I would not pay more than $20-$30 because, all right,
It's $20 to go to TFCon.
right? Because okay, here's my thing. You are throwing this convention as a gigantic advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go in there and I'm going to spend more money on toys and this thing and that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And why should I pay fucking hundreds of dollars to fucking get in? Fuck you. No, that's stupid.
I think it's around 600 if you buy the golden ticket price. Golden ticket
For
package.
600 goddamn dollars, I'd better get a blowjob from a chick in RC cosplay.
No, unfortunately, the golden ticket basically just means that you get there a day early.
With a reach around from Chromia.
You get there a day early, and you get to be part of a meet and greet with this year's guests. This year, by the way, the headliner guest is Judd Nelson, voice of Hot Rod Rodimus Prime.
Oh, well, sign me the fuck up.
$600 to meet the voice of Rodimus Prime.
Like, I could see some, 40-year-old woman who didn't give a flying fuck about Transformers, but just wanted to meet the edgy dude from Breakfast Club.
You know what? She would probably be the only one there who didn't spit on him.
Or maybe she would, because that's just how she rolls. But
yeah, so a Hasbro run convention, it might be cheaper. Then again, they might be like, let's keep that money train rolling. But let's move on from Transformers as we let BotCon stew in their outdated failures. Jack, you recently put Netflix to good use and watched all of the Star Trek original series.
yes, I did.
Including the films.
Yes, I did.
All 6 of them.
Yes, I did.
All right. So I guess what I want... I don't know.
You picked my brain. This segment was your idea. What do you want to know?
I guess what I wanted to know... And I guess the big question the big question is, because, and this has always been a thing that has kept me from really kind of, I guess, engaging in Star Trek, the original series, is to what degree does the overt 60s-ness hamper basically the original series and, the original show? Because that's always been my big problem. All the other series, to varying degrees. TNG started off very 80s, but it got over that. But everyone, like TOS, is just so 60s. I have a hard time, I guess, engaging. And you've recently seen it. I guess I just wanted to ask you, how much does the 60s-ness bleed through once you actually start the series proper?
Okay, so I'm going to start this answer off by saying that I'm going to clarify your question, because you asked me this the other day, and I'm going to clarify for the listeners, both of them, who are thinking about the special effects. That is not what he's talking about. He's talking about the dialogue and the stories and the plot and the pacing.
Yes.
Because when you told me that, I'm thinking, the special effects, because the version that I watched on Netflix has been remastered.
Yeah,
it's in HD. They've redone all the old shots in CGI of the ship and the phasers and all this other stuff.
You don't see Gene Roddenberry holding the fucking wire as the Enterprise goes across.
Yeah, no, you don't. And I've seen people online complaining, oh my god, they put all this fucking shite CGI in my TOS. And it looks fine. It looks good. I mean, yes, they reuse
You have to understand, a lot of sci-fi fans are react that way because George Lucas hurt us.
Well, Gene Roddenberry hurt me too, but you just get over it and you keep going. And like, okay, yeah, they do reuse like a lot of the same CGI clips over and over again, but they did that in TOS too for the practical effects shots. Like they would show the same shot of the Enterprise going around whatever fucking planet. It'd be the same planet they had last week or the week before or whatever. And so, you know, in that sense, I kind of laughed. I'm like, okay, well, they're keeping it true to original in that sense, at least. So I will say the CGI, to me at least, was well done. I liked it. It was cool. It was nice to see the Star Trek for me has never been necessarily. I know your thing with it has been like, oh, well, the Federation are a bunch of fucking socialist hippies and fuck them. And
they are.
Well, okay, yeah, and I get that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it's hundreds of years in the future, and as long as you don't get too preachy about it.
Yeah, but Picard got so preachy about it in TNG.
Yeah, he did, but, you know, whatever.
Shut up, Frenchie.
I mean, the idea, like, my whole argument, to briefly get political for a second, my whole argument with socialism has never been that the idea in itself is bad. It's that it just ignores the fundamental reality of humanity and seeks to correct that reality through retarded means.
Mm-hmm.
But so, like, you know, 200 or 300 years in the future, okay, we've gotten past, you know, money and all this other stuff, which now in recent years with Star Trek, you've kind of seen a pull away from that, which makes it a lot more believable to those of us in this century, and I think most people listening to this are of the same century as you and I. And, you know, it makes it a lot better in that regard, a lot more believable. What I'm going to say in terms of this quote-unquote 60s-ness of the show...
And that is what I meant, sort of like the pacing, the dialogue, the stories, because that's actually... I'm a huge James Bond fan, but I've actually never been all that big on the Sean Connery-era Bond films precisely because they are very 60s in their sensibilities. And it's one of those things where even Roger Moore's 70s films, the sensibilities in that one are even closer to, you know, to something I can appreciate. But the 60s is just sort of like alien to me when it comes to movies and television. I have a hard time getting into that decade's idea of storytelling, I guess. So,
okay, so I'm going to say that in this regard, like, you know, between your age and mine, there's like a decade difference.
Mm-hmm.
And in this regard, it may have an impact. And this is very subjective. You know, for one, it's going to be one thing for one person, completely different for another. For myself, can you tell that it was written during the 60s? Yes, you can. Is it insultingly stupid and just by our current storytelling standards?
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to, when I say our current storytelling standards, I want you to think about what those standards are right now.
Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, I want you to think about what those standards are.
Iron Man 3.
Right, exactly. I thought it was good. I thought it was great, actually, in most regards. I mean, season 3 was kind of meh, and there were a handful of episodes, probably 4 or 5, that I just skipped. After like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. And here's what I learned about the future.
Okay.
Pretty much when we finally get out into space, we're going to find one of the handful of different scenarios with which we are confronted.
Mm-hmm.
1, paradise.
Everyone likes paradise, except Kirk, apparently.
Every planet has some kind of paradise, it seems like.
Unless it's ruled by a god demon.
Yeah, either it's like this omniscient alien entity that's just like, hey, I have to have adoration and affection and worship to survive, literally. If you will give me that, I will make sure that you want for nothing. I can provide you anything you ever want. And Kirk's all like, evil.
Yeah,
Scotty, block phasers on the planet.
Yeah, wasn't there, you were telling me about that, like, the plan was, like, their insidious plan was to, like, we're going to give humanity absolute convenience.
Oh, and yeah, then there was this race of androids who were all like, we're going to prevent humanity, or basically the lesser evolved species, quote unquote. That's the other thing, like, every fucking race you run into thinks we're just scrub lords. And it gets really old after a while. Like, oh my god, your race is so primitive. You're, like, still using weapons and stuff. Here, we're going to destroy your entire crew to teach you a lesson. What?
Oh.
I mean, and that's not even 1960s, right? I mean, you see that even in TNG. You know, this whole fucking arrogant, snobby fucking alien race, you know, this interstellar equivalent of the regressive left saying, oh my god, you're so savage, we're going to teach you love and tolerance by destroying you.
Oh.
I mean, the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But, so yeah, and in every situation in which, you know, humanity is confronted with this looming ominous specter of paradise and fulfillment and never wanting for anything, Kirk's always like, humanity needs its suffering. It needs its pain. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, shut up. Maybe some of us want to chill out for a bit, okay?
Oh.
Just shut your fucking mouth. If you want to go over there in the fucking corner and cut yourself while listening to fucking Linkin Park, then don't let me fucking stop you. But for the rest of us, yeah, let's sign up. I mean, fuck.
Now, if there isn't a, if there isn't some sort of god demon running, a paradise planet, there is, of course, the space Nazis or the space gangsters.
Well, yeah, and I know that's something you have an issue with. And
Space Nazis, at least, they explained there was a reason for them to be there, and they explained it. The space gangsters, that was just lazy. That's inexcusable.
Well, no, they explain that too in a lot of the same way, actually, that they explain the space Nazis. Like, okay, for the space gangsters, there was a Federation ship that had crashed or had been by or whatever. I think it had crashed or some shit. Much as in the case with the Nazi planet.
Mm-hmm.
Except in this case, all that survived was a book. And it was a book from 1992.
Whoa.
And the far-off future year of 1992, where evidently they still printed, like, regular nonfiction books like they were the fucking Bible or something, because this book was, was leather embossed on the cover and had, like, the fucking, leaf paper pages and shit. And it was about Chicagoland gangsters.
Whoa.
And that became, like, their go-to book because evidently this alien race, while extremely bright and sophisticated, was so fucking naive and stupid that they just emulated whatever they came in contact with. Riddle me that. That's the other thing that I learned about Star Trek. Other cultures are evil, backwards, and we should destroy them.
I don't think that was Gene Roddenberry's intended message. But
I know it wasn't, but that makes it all the more powerful of a message. Like, you watch the, like, okay, and this is skipping forward to, like, TNG even.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I watched some of TNG too and just kind of trudge off a little bit. Like, there's this one episode where, Wesley Crusher's playing ball with some fucking kids in Speedos, as one will do, and he falls through, this glass case and crushes some flowers and
oh yeah, then the aliens want to kill him over it.
And while I commend them for wanting to kill Wesley Crusher, it's like, Who the fuck do you think you are? No, you were stupid. And you know what? I've got a ship up there capable of destroying your planet. And, I think I will because I've got an hour to kill before lunch. Fuck you.
I do like the fact that, I know the episode you're talking about where Picard's talking about he can't get involved because of the Prime Directive.
Yeah, fuck the Prime Directive.
I like to think that was his face-saving way of letting the aliens kill Wesley.
And, I say, fuck the Prime Directive. And I know a lot of hardcore Trekkies will be like, oh my god, blah, 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 that's not what Federation's about, blah, blah, blah. Really? Isn't it? Because you tell me one fucking Starfleet captain throughout the entire litany of movies and series and yada, yada, yada that encompasses this franchise, and you show me one fucking captain who has not said fuck the Prime Directive. Because, yeah, they may preface it with this long-winded speech and, 45 minutes, or I'm sorry, 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes of deliberation to make it seem like it's this big decision not to be taken lightly. But at the end of the day, fuck the spear chuckers, fuck the Prime Directive, nuke the planet.
I love how...
Just saying.
I love how... Except Janeway. Janeway never took long to deliberate it. She'd always be like, for the remainder of this mission, the Prime Directive is rescinded.
Yeah, because she was fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, even I would evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. But no, this was just like, no, we're just going to go ahead and not do that. I mean, what are they going to do? Write me up? Ooh, demote me? Ooh. I'm in the Delta Quadrant, bitch. They can't touch me.
When she finally gets back and they go through her logs, they make her an admiral.
Right. So, like, this whole Prime Directive bullshit, it's just stupid. It's stupid. So, that's the other thing that I learned about Star Trek. Other cultures, be they more advanced or less advanced than us, they are evil. And they want to destroy us.
Also,
the only thing we can do is destroy them first.
Also, of course, how every other planet in the universe, in the galaxy, wants you to fight your first officer.
Yes, that's the other thing that you will run into a lot in the universe and the galaxy is beyond like the backwards planets that want to enslave your crew, or the paradise planets where they want to do us the ultimate crime of ending our suffering. Mm-hmm. You'll also come across planets where like, hey, I would really like it if you would just fight your first officer for our amusement. And you're like, well, actually, no, I've got, look, Season 4 of House of Cards just came out, and I've kind of got like a binge watch session with my bestie planned later on. Could we just, no, fight him!
Da, da, da,
Evil
da,
human.
da, 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 da.
Right, yeah, and then we get into that. And so that's...
Hey, J.J. Abrams dropped the ball by not playing that music when Kirk and Spock fought in the 2009 reboot.
He really did.
Da, 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 da.
He really did. He really fucking did. So, but I mean, okay, here's what I'll say without ragging on it and getting all shitty about it and being a smart ass. What I'll say about Star Trek from the 60s is that, well, it did a lot of things that just weren't being done in sci-fi back then. Mm-hmm. Like, in almost every instance of of humans coming in contact with aliens in sci-fi, it was always portrayed as a categorically bad experience for the humans. You know, they were always going to, destroy us, enslave us, etc., etc. And Star Trek taught us that that wasn't necessarily the case. They would only want to enslave us only 20% of the time. And that's an 80% decrease in enslavement. And as a human myself, for the time being, I can't help but give a thumbs up to that. I think that's a much better message than...
Well, you were also mentioning that, they were able to kind of use the series to explore alternate history concepts.
Right, and this was a time when alternate history really wasn't that much of a thing. I mean, it's only even recently become like a quote-unquote mainstream.
Thanks to our Lord and Savior, Harry Turtlebuff.
Not even. I wouldn't even say that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But
that man is a saint.
Sometimes. Okay, so you have the Nazi planet, and you have the gangster planet, and then you have one of my personal favorites, the planet where it's like for this alternate reality almost. It's a different planet in the series, but these days we would think of it as like a parallel universe, a parallel dimension, or alternate history.
It's the parallel Earth, basically.
Yeah, where there was this World War III against presumably the U.S. and China,
mm-hmm.
And the U.S. lost.
Did the U.S. lose? Because it seems like it seems like from that episode, from what I can remember, everyone's basically been blown back to the Stone Age.
Well, everyone lost. I mean, everyone lost, but the U.S. lost more because the U.S. are basically like the descendants of the Americans are just kind of like fucking cavemen.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Chinese are living in, a village kind of a deal, not the worst thing you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Not good, but not horrendous. So, but you have that, and these concepts of parallel alternate realities or alternate histories or whatever really hadn't been explored, and they approached it in the best way they could at the time by saying, hey, and this is a scientific theory that is actually still out there and
mm-hmm.
considered valid, that, given infinite numbers of planets, because we don't know how much further the universe goes out, it is a mathematical possibility that there are other Earths out there.
Mm-hmm.
If not in our own universe, then certainly in others, because, we haven't really confirmed the multiverse theory yet, but, there have been strong cases made for it. And so, they explored these things in a way that, for the time, were innovative and thoughtful and, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe while also incidentally saving a few $1,000s per episode in set costs. But I mean, even if you
just reuse the Nazi costumes from that World War II movie,
right? I mean, even if you think about that, I mean, they're still replicating in 1930s Chicago, even in the 60s, it wasn't that easy of a thing to do. I mean, I dare say that dollar per dollar is probably more expensive to do it back then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Where nowadays they just probably do it with CGI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back then with practical effects and with the actual cars and all this other shit, it was probably more difficult to do it back then.
Indeed.
So, I would recommend, the reason why I went back and I watched TOS, I don't know, it's a mixture of reasons. For me, I grew up watching it. And when I say I grew up watching it, I mean I was 2, 3, 4 years old while it was playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered excerpts, I remembered snippets and lines from various episodes that, looking back, really kind of shaped my interest in fiction, in my beliefs on various things, and my taste in a whole multitude of things, as well as instilling in me an appreciable love of green women.
Oh.
And, you know, I wanted to actually go back with an adult mind and kind of watch it all.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this time of the year, I guess you could say a bit of a personal note, it kind of comes across like being close to my mother's birthday, and she passed 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always like her thing, right? The TOS was like her thing. Like, she liked TNG. It was good. It was all right. You know, I think she thought Patrick Stewart was sexy. But then again, who can blame her?
He's no Riker.
But anyways, so I don't know. It was part of that. I mean, it's like, you know, I'm going to go back and rewatch this. So, or watch it / rewatch it. And, you know, I certainly don't regret it except for maybe 1/3 of season 3, which is kind of rubbish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know, if you don't mind a little bit, the dating does come through a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're drunk enough, you can go past that.
I guess one big thing about Star Trek, the original series, that I guess it's always fascinated me in how Star Trek since then has tried to sort of handle it. The big thing, I guess, is the Klingons, right? Because the Klingons from TOS do not look like the Klingons from the films onward.
No, they don't.
And they tried to address that in the DS9 episode Trials and Tribulations, where they went back in time to Trouble of Tribbles. And then they tried to explain it in an Enterprise episode. And honestly, wouldn't this have been hilarious if in that Trials and Tribulations episode, right, where they go back, where the DS9 crew goes back in time to the events of the Trouble of Tribbles? Because Worf was part of DS9 at the time, and so they called out the whole Klingon thing. My solution would have been that Michael Dorn would have spent the entire time in the past wearing the old Klingon makeup, and no one would have noticed.
Or, better yet, he wouldn't have. He would have gone on with the full head bridges or whatever, but leave the Klingons of the TOS era as they were, and have them be like, what the fuck are you? There was this one song, I don't remember the name of it or even who sang it, but it was a song that referred to Klingons as Puerto Ricans and gold lame.
Well,
I'll have to try to find it and off quote unquote camera share it with you if I can find it. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of funny. It's basically just parody spoof of Star Trek or what the hell ever. But yeah, anyways, go on.
I also wanted to talk a bit about the TOS movies because you angered me, sir, when you had good things to say about TMP, the motion picture. Because I still maintain that is an irredeemable, boring pile of nonsense.
All right, and I'll say on mic what I said to you at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The costumes are horrible.
No, the costumes are so horrible. They're also over-designed and impractical. Apparently, they were a pain in the ass just to get the pants off if you needed to go take a piss.
I mean, the costumes are horrible. Mm-hmm. The editing is atrocious. Mm-hmm. The pacing is inexcusable. Mm-hmm. The movie thinks way too fucking highly of itself. Mm-hmm. Now that I've said what everyone who's even watched 10 minutes of this movie already fucking knows, I'll tell you about the good stuff about it.
Once you get past the incompetence that piles on itself,
and I'm not even I'm not even saying that. I mean, I'm not going into a bad movie Public Defender here or anything like that. I'm simply saying that, yes, once you get past the incompetent that compounds upon itself infinitely, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't confuse interesting with other words like good or exciting or not sleep-inducing or stimulating. Don't, because I was really drunk when I watched it.
Well, as you would have to be.
Yes. But it was interesting because, again, like I was saying earlier, with the ideas that they had from these alternate universes or alternate realities or whatever as we would call them now, for them it's just another planet where, hey, going back, there's this one episode where Kirk is on this one planet, and he's like, this planet, it's just like Earth, except what are the odds? We've never come across a planet like this before. Spock, what are the odds? And I'm thinking, gee, yeah, no, what are the odds? You've only come across like 6 others this season that were literally alternate Earths. So, well, yeah, riddle me that. But anyways, but the idea behind it is really interesting, because in this particular case, you weren't dealing with mankind, encountering some evil alien race that either A, wanted to enslave us, B, wanted to pleasure us to death, C, wanted to make us fight our first officers, or, yeah, no, that's actually about it. This was something that humanity made itself. Because at the time, the late 70s, we were beginning to actually, quote unquote, explore our solar system, right? We were sending out our first probes, giggity. And, there was this certain hopeful promise when we would think about these things. Like I remember being a kid and hearing about Voyager 2 when it went out. And, my mother telling me, oh, well, they put all this stuff on it, like this record, and it's got like Johnny Be Good and all this other shit on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, why? And she's like, well, because we want, if it comes across aliens or whatever, we want them to know about us. And, here I am like 5 years old, and I'm thinking that's probably a bad idea. But okay. Yeah, because I'd also as I recall, I'd also watched like War of the Worlds that same week. So I was kind of like, do we really want them to know where we're at? But it was this interesting thing because this idea that we sent out this probe, and in its travels over half a millennium, it surpasses its creators, and it comes back, and it's like, nigga, get out of here. You didn't fucking make me. You're too stupid.
I also did like the idea that I think a few Star Trek novels have brought out that the planet that modified the Voyager probe was the Borg planet. The Borg homeworld.
And it wasn't, yeah, I'm trying to think I think it was one of the Star Trek video games that also said that, and I don't remember which one.
Mm-hmm. Either that or Cybertron.
Right. Yeah. There really should be a crossover there. There really should be. Anyways. But yeah, that is one thing that I've heard, and I don't disagree with it. I also heard that with regards to the whale probe in Star Trek 4, that the reason why that probe was like, oh, hey, there's no whales here. Let's suck up all the fucking water. Was because during its travels across the entire fucking galaxy, basically, it got attacked by the Borg. And, of course, this probe is fucking massive. And by massive, I mean fucking enormous. Like, the fact that even, like, one of our star bases at the time, it could fit probably 100 of those inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing is just goddamn fucking huge. I would say probably about at least, what was it I heard? 70,000 meters? I don't know even what that is in like, real measurement. But it's pretty fucking big. I mean, even if they'd said kilometers, I would have, well, so 70 kilometers, I guess? 70,000 meters would be 70 kilometers, right?
Meters to... What? 70,000 meters?
Yeah. 70,000 meters would be... No, it'd be 700 kilometers, wouldn't it? Okay. So this thing is fucking 700 kilometers long. However fucking big... That's like what? Like a mile?
I have no idea. But yeah, 70,000 meters is 70 kilometers.
Okay, okay, let's see. Let's actually... Okay. Kilometers to miles. Okay, Google. So, 43 miles. That still seems kind of small for this thing. But we'll go with this. Basically 43 miles long. This thing's fucking huge. And it evidently had been attacked by the Borg. And this thing is so fucking sturdy and damn near invincible that even after being attacked by the Borg, the only thing it got was a glitch.
Okay.
And it just basically fritzed the fuck out after it didn't hear any humpback whales doing their...
So basically, the Borg fucked it up, and it had a bit of a... and so it just responded to sucking up all the water.
Pretty much, yeah. But anyways, TMP. I just thought that the idea itself was interesting. In that same way that I thought that their efforts to explore alternate realities was interesting, because you took something that was very much like scientifically at the forefront of our exploration of the solar system at the time, and they took that and they made it into something very unique that you hadn't heard of before. An idea just so far out of left field that's like, wow, very rarely these days is anything ever that creative. But I can honestly say that the idea behind TMP is creative. It was something that had never been done before. And for that, in and of itself, I have to give it some credit.
Okay, that's fair, but I would still argue that as a movie, it utterly fails as an entertaining film.
The only thing I can really say in response to that is that the idea itself I found to be entertaining enough to watch it.
Gotcha. Okay. Obviously, Wrath of Khan is perfect. But
6 is still my favorite.
6 is good. 6 is definitely
Well, I don't know.
good.
6 is my second favorite. I'll say it depends on my day, like the day and my mood, whether 2 or 6 is my favorite.
I would say... I would say 6 is probably... 6 is a very strong 3 for me.
Yeah, 6 is 2 for me.
I have Save the Whales. I have Star Trek Save the Whales. Then I've got Wrath of Khan, and then I've got 6.
See, and here's my thing with Save the Whales.
It's amazing.
No, it's actually really not. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a good comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good comedy. It sucks ass as a Star Trek movie.
Hey, it's also the reason TNG got greenlit.
I know. I'm just saying, it's a good comedy. It's a bad Star Trek movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of the hippie environmentalist bullshit. I don't think that we should kill every last fucking whale on the planet. We need to at least leave a couple for the fucking probe. It's because it's honestly so much of a cop-out in terms of, hey, we don't have the money to film an actual fucking Star Trek movie, so we're going to do this. And what you ended up with was a time travel comedy.
Yeah, but to me, it's a very well done time travel comedy.
I mean, it is. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Mm-hmm. And it's probably, I would say it's my number 3 favorite.
Mm-hmm.
With number 5 being my favorite of the odd numbered movies.
See, 5 is troubled to me, and I understand Shatner didn't get to do what he wanted to do, but I think he should have changed gears when he realized the universe just wasn't going to let him make the movie he wanted to make.
I mean, if we're talking, if we're talking just TOS movies, for me it's 2/6 for number 1, 2/6 for number 2, 4 for number 3, 5 for 4, 3 for 5, and 1 for the last.
3, I think, is really weird, because 3 is a... Alright, 3 has a lot of elements to it that could have made it an epic movie, and it all just falls flat.
3 suffers from the same problem that 1 does, in that it's a very interesting idea. It's a very interesting concept. It's epic in its scope and its idea, but it's boring as fuck. The one saving grace for number 3 that has it not be the last for me is, I have had enough of you!
Yeah, that's a good one. I do love that line. And 3 did give us that. But I don't know, the whole thing just seems very dull given the subject matter and given everything that happens. And I mean...
And the other thing that TMP did right, it gave us the new Star Trek theme.
Yeah, but that
is epic.
Weird. I mean, it's weird, though, because it shows up in the motion picture, then it doesn't show up again till 6, and then TNG.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still awesome, so because I never liked the original Star Trek theme. Yeah, and I was actually kind of disappointed that they used it for the J.J. Abrams movies. For the end credits. I love the new opening theme. I love that. I love the fuck out of that. But I never liked that.
You got to throw the fans a bone on that one. The J.J. Abrams movie basically was like 50 years of canon never happened, nerds. So you gotta throw them a bone with the old theme.
Yeah.
TNG never happened. The only TV show that's still canon is Enterprise.
Well, to be fair, the JJ verse does not mean that TNG never happened. It just happened in another reality.
I know. I just like the implication that in that universe, in the JJ verse, the only show that's actually still canon is Enterprise.
And I still do not.
Archer is vindicated in the end!
Right? I know you and I have gone off on this before, but I still do not get all the hate for the J.J. Abrams movies.
I don't either. I think the styling is fine. I think the acting is fine. I think the script is fine. I think the new emphasis on action is, quite frankly, what Star Trek needed. And I know you are a minority. I know you feel otherwise, Jack. But most of the movie-going public doesn't care about, flag officers sitting around a conference table discussing intergalactic diplomacy.
Star Trek VI would beg to differ.
Star Trek VI couldn't happen today.
Why not?
It just couldn't.
Why not?
People would find it boring. Star Trek VI would be boring today if it was in theaters.
And yet people still think Star Trek VI is good.
Yes.
So your argument's invalid.
I'm saying that there's a difference
between... If people still think it's good...
I'm saying there's a difference between that movie is a good product of its time and this is a good movie today. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think Star Trek VI is good, and I would love it if it could happen, if a movie like it could happen.
Okay,
I'm just saying,
Star Trek VI was a political...
I don't think the general public could accept it.
Okay, just like Star Trek IV was nothing more than a time travel comedy in space. Well, not in space, but
there was
whatever.
Space involved.
Yeah, space-ish time travel movie. Then Star Trek VI was a political thriller set in space. It almost was like Hunt for Red October in space.
Are you from space? No, I'm from Iowa. I just work in space.
Fair enough. Okay, but to say that Star Trek VI would not fly right now is just to say that political thrillers as a genre would not fly now.
I think political thrillers could fly right now, just not the way they make political thrillers today, like the way that Tom Clancy was butchered in the last Jack Ryan movie because Kevin Costner needed to inject himself into the proceedings.
See, though, just because I think it could work. I think it could, and I think it would. Because that last Jack Ryan movie, since we haven't seen another one pop out yet, or haven't heard of an inkling of another one popping out yet, I would venture to guess that it probably was not well received. And you and I fucking both know why.
Kevin Costner?
Partially.
Also, it was... I maintain that that movie was actually the perfect Jack Ryan, James Bond crossover. They just forgot to put James Bond in it.
Yeah.
It made its money back. I mean, it made $135 million, and it only cost $60 million to make. So, it wasn't a money, loser.
Well, my whole thing is, I think that and that always has been like the thing about Star Trek that intrigued me more was like the more
political.
The more political aspect of it. Not the fact that the Federation is a bunch of fucking hippies, blah, 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 blah. Because you don't always see that brought to the forefront, right? You don't always see that. In fact, honestly, in TOS, it's mentioned, but they have this one episode that's just like this bunch of fucking space hippies. And you know where they're at the end of the episode?
Dead.
They're fucking dead.
Yeah, that's when they keep chanting, like, Eichmann, right, at, like, Kirk.
Keep chanting what?
Eichmann?
No, Herbert.
Herbert. That's
Herbert.
right.
How do you get Eichmann out of Herbert?
No, I forgot that. Hippies did chant Eichmann, I think, at one point.
Oh.
So I was confusing hippies. But no, they keep chanting something at Kirk. And it's like, you hippies really do have the wrong idea about Kirk. You should realize by now that he's only still in Starfleet on the off chance that an alien orgy breaks out.
Yeah, no one knows more about free love than Captain James T. Kirk.
And I just love how he has this like look of barely constrained tolerance of them like the entire episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I like the J.J. Abrams movies, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think they're perfectly fine, and I really don't get the hate for it at all.
I mean, I would like to see. Well, the thing is, Into Darkness.
Yes.
It had a little bit more of the political shit in it, with the whole renegade admiral and the war with the Klingons and blah 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 blah. Now, I've heard things about Star Trek Beyond, where even
Star Trek Star Furious.
Yeah. Where, like, evidently the script has been written by Simon Pegg, and when he's seen the trailer, he's like, that's so not the movie that I wrote.
Well,
so I don't know.
Trailers also lie.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, they do. Fuck Iron Man 3.
If I were Simon Pegg, I wouldn't get too, worried, just quite yet, because, You can make a movie look like anything with creative editing and the right Beastie Boys soundtrack.
There was also it's a rumor, but there's also a rumor that Pegg's original script was kicked back to him, with basically them saying, the studio saying it's too Star Trek-y. Make it more mainstream.
Well, again, the last Star Trek movie was Nemesis, which
was really good.
Which also lost out to Made in Manhattan at the box office.
Well, that's because people are fucking stupid.
It not only lost to Made in Manhattan, but Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers curb stomped it, like American History X.
Okay, now, if you're releasing anything, that's the studio's fault, because who in the right fucking mind would release their fucking shit against the Lord of the Rings sequel? That's just stupid.
I don't disagree. It was a very stupid thing to do, but they did it.
I mean, that stomped everything, so...
and then, but yeah, no, it's the Made in Manhattan thing that I think is really telling.
I maintain that Nemesis was a good movie. One of the better TNG movies, to be honest. I liked it more than Generations. I liked it more than First Contact.
Honestly, First Contact is the only TNG movie I legitimately like.
I just get tired of the fucking Borg.
Yeah, but if you just look at it...
Now, the Borg Queen, she's hot, and
if you look at it from just purely...
do horrible things, but...
If you look at it purely from the movie, perspective, that is the only Borg appearance in the films.
Well, yeah.
So, as a movie series, that's fine. And I'm not a big fan of the Borg either, but they do make an effective villain, and that is their one cinematic adventure, and they made acceptable.
Except by that point, no, they weren't an effective villain because.
Well, no, by that point, Voyager had neutered them, but
right. I mean, okay, you had them kind of. They weren't quite overplayed in TNG, but they were beginning to be, and then you had Voyager, which really overplayed them, and now they're in a movie, and it's just like, God damn it.
Yeah, but that's Voyager. Voyager ruined a lot of things for a lot of people.
But anyways.
But I don't know. I like, as far as the TNG movies go, like, Generations, I think, is a letdown. First Contact, I like. Insurrection is actually the first Star Trek movie I saw in theaters.
I'm sorry.
I remember my dad was super excited. And then he taken his family to see Star Trek for the first time in the movie theaters. And then after the movie was over, he was like, well, that happened.
Of the TNG movies, First Contact is actually number 2 on my list. Because simply Captain Picard mowing down Borg with a Tommy gun. Mm-hmm. That is worth the price of admission.
I would say the big... I would say the big selling point to First Contact is actually his "the line must be drawn here, and no further" speech.
Well, that too. Yeah, that too. I would say Nemesis is probably my favorite TNG movie. First Contact number 2, Generations number 3, and Insurrection being an also ran.
I
Literally, as in that was a movie that they also made.
Yes, that was a movie that happened.
I mean, I can't even say I hate it. I mean, that was just a movie that they made.
I had no impression of it when I saw it for the first time. Having gone back and seen it again, after watching it again, I actually can say I hate Insurrection. Like, because of the ideas on display. Okay, because the whole point of Insurrection, right, is that you have the Baku, and they've got their little planet, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the political bullshit, the hippie nonsense, the regressive left agenda is very heavy in that movie, and it much to its detriment. Yes,
I mean, it's like we could use, if we take the Baku off this planet, we can use the healing properties of these rings to save billions of people. Billions of people! And Picard is like, no! And the movie tries to paint the people who want to use this technology to help billions of others as the villains? What is it that Spock said to Kirk?
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Exactly! That is one of the most iconic moments in all of Star Trek, and Picard is willing to screw over billions of people to save not even 400 Baku. There's only like a population of 300 and change of them.
He was willing to screw over billions of people so that he could get freaky with a 300-year-old cougar.
Yeah, with the MILF. Oh, man. Yeah, so, and the Baku are just so fucking smug. It's like, you know what? Fuck you. Geordi got his natural eyes back because of the healing properties of that planet. If I were Geordi, I would have been like, fuck you, bald man!
Right?
Crazy-ass crack all up in here?
I can actually read books now. I love it. Oh my god, I might actually start a show about reading books. Shut up, Geordi. No one would ever watch that. Oh, you're right. It'd probably just be canceled in 30 years.
But, God, I was legitimately bummed out when I found out they were canceling Reading Rainbow. I'm like, no!
Yeah, who the fuck do they think they are? Fucking canceling Reading Rainbow. Fucking... But,
I don't know. Insurrection went from merely a thing that happened to now I kind of do hate everything about it. The other Nemesis, I don't hate. I don't hate Nemesis. I just don't think it's particularly good. My big thing about Nemesis is that they really tried desperately to turn it into Wrath of Khan.
Maybe, but I never really took it as that. I just took it. I don't know.
And I fully admit that it's just a personal preference on my end. But I have never liked Data as a character. I never thought his "I want to be a real boy" shtick was interesting. I never thought the character was charming in any way. And a big part of Nemesis is, Data makes the ultimate sacrifice. And it's basically, the Data appreciation, power hour, right? So I kind of have, I don't like the character already, and now there's two of them, and he dies.
Data eventually went on to command the Enterprise E, right?
I don't accept that. How the fuck did he command the Enterprise E? Because he dies in Nemesis.
Wow.
I mean, I know they had, B4 there, and they were kind of setting him up to be the new Data, but he, unless they just download Data's backup files, in which case it kind of does undermine his death.
Well, isn't that really all it would be? Just fucking download the shit. Oh, he's dead. Oh, wait, no, he's not. Oh, does anyone have a USB cable? I do. I just went to Radio Shack.
Which,
and then,
Which, I guess they did end up doing with Spock anyway, right? Because,
Yeah.
they basically just downloaded Spock's extra brain from McCoy.
So maybe, had there been another TNG movie, it would have been The Search for Data.
Only it would have been much less interesting because you don't have to go back to the Klingon homeworld.
You just get a fucking USB cable.
Yeah, you just have to take the USB cable and hook, B4 up to the computer and download backup data file.
Literally the backup data file.
Yeah. But I don't.
There's all these files. They all say backup data. How do I know which one is actually data?
It's the backup data file labeled data.
That doesn't help.
But, yeah, so much of that movie is built around the premise that the audience loves data, and I understand most of the audience loves data. I never did, so I just was kind of eh.
See, my mother loved Data because he was, the new Spock, and she liked Spock. So she fell for it. She took the bait. She fell for the new Spock kind of a thing.
I loved how I did love in the first episode of TNG where they have DeForest Kelly as the 104-year-old Dr. McCoy. 147-year-old, I think. 147-year-old McCoy, and he's on the Enterprise D, and he's being given a tour by Data, and he's like, "You a Vulcan boy?"
Which, since we're talking about Star Trek movies, actually I'm going to plug a couple things I found on YouTube.
Okay.
There have actually been a couple, I know several episodes ago, a year or so ago, Mike and I just discussed Prelude to Axanar, which is kind of it was a fan-made short film / pitch for a fan movie that was going to be out. And it's still being made. They're having some legal issues. Paramount has actually sued them for copyright infringement, which before you say, wow, raise your hand if you didn't see that coming, there's actually a few other movies out there that are equally as high quality that haven't been sued. There's two that I know of right now. There's a third that I'm going to check out, and I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not going to mention it yet until I watch it.
Don't be a Nintendo, Paramount.
Right. But there is Star Trek Horizons.
Okay.
Which takes place, it's kind of like a tie-in to Enterprise, kind of. God, I was so drunk when I watched it, I kind of forget most of what it was. It was really good, though.
Does it take place before or after Enterprise?
It takes place after Enterprise, and it takes place after the Romulan War.
Why won't anyone show that?
But it does deal with the Iconians.
Who are they again?
Exactly. No, the Iconians were this ancient race that had, ruled the galaxy.
Oh, they're the who made the gatekeepers, yeah!
Right! They're not the Borg! They're not the fucking Borg!
I know who those guys. They were in the first Ferengi episode.
So yeah, it deals with the Iconians, and it's really interesting. The production quality is really high. Well, it's high. It's TNG episode high, okay? Very watchable. Good stuff. And again, this is on YouTube. It's not pirated because it's a fan-made movie. It's free for everyone to watch. They intended for it to be free. So yeah, Star Trek Horizon, if you're ever bored, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. If you're ever bored, check it out.
Does Scott Bakula make a cameo?
No, sadly. Though if you want to talk cameos, there is Star Trek Renegades.
Okay.
Now, this is the one this one is more recent, I think. Again, really high production value. Above, I would say more on par with the 20-minute Axanar short.
Okay.
Above Horizon. Horizon's just a little bit below that.
Okay.
Renegades actually has some of the TOS cast, or one member of the TOS cast, as well as one member of the Voyager cast.
Who they have from TOS?
Walter Koenig, a.k.a. Chekhov, who is now an admiral. an old as shit admiral.
Well, Archer, we are led to believe that Jonathan Archer was still an admiral by the time frame of TOS, if the J.J. Abrams film is anything to go by. Because Scotty lost Porthos.
True. Which is kind of hard to believe that dog would still be alive.
My theory is that
it's just another Porthos, maybe.
He just kept buying more beagles and calling them Porthos.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But it's got Walter Koenig, a.k.a. Chekhov, and Tim Russ, a.k.a. Tuvok from Voyager.
Okay.
Also directed by, I think, directed or produced by Tim Russ. I think directed. And basically it is this renegade Federation ship. It's almost like Star Trek meets the A-Team kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
The ship is called the HMS Icarus.
HMS?
Yes. So named by the ship's captain, Alexa Singh. Yes, okay. Khan's daughter.
Okay.
Or at least a descendant of Khan.
Okay. Why are they naming it after if there is no United Kingdom?
Just as a fuck you to the Federation.
Okay.
Basically is what it was. And it's got like, they painted the Jolly Roger on it and all this other shit. And it's basically, there's this overarching conspiracy in the Federation, and Chekhov, who has either through just years of wisdom or perhaps early on, or, well, not early onset Alzheimer's at this point, just plain old Alzheimer's, has grown to be a bit paranoid. He's like, we need someone to check this shit out, and there's this big thing which threatens to destroy the Federation and Earth and yada, yada, yada. And so he gets this ragtag band of misfits, blah, 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 blah. In some ways, it is kind of your stereotypical outcast saves the world / universe / galaxy / insert good thing to be saved by misfits here movie.
How does he deal with a descendant of Khan? Because, Khan did kind of shove a mind control slug down his head.
That's never really dealt with. I mean, it's called Renegades Episode 1. It's an hour and a half long, though, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they do have the Kickstarter up to do more. And again, really good stuff. Every bit as good as the J.J. Abrams movies, I would say. And if you're not a fan of the Abrams movies and you want something a bit more traditionally Star Trek feeling, mm-hmm. then you would probably want to go to these, because they do feel more like the Star Trek that we know than the Abrams movies. So, yeah, good stuff.
Woo! Well, I think that's going to do it for our Star Trek discussion, unless we start getting into ship designs, and then that would just push this whole thing, into probably another hour if we start going down that road.
that would be a lot of shit, and I wouldn't drag you down that rabbit hole, sir.
I'm perfectly willing to go down the rabbit hole. I'm just saying maybe that might be something that we need to dedicate a full show to.
Yeah.
But
I'll just say on ship designs, Galaxy X for the win, motherfucker.
No, man. Excelsior.
Not a bad choice.
Excelsior is the best ship of all time, and it is amazing. But anyway, that'll do it for episode 65 of Basically a Geek Show. We've got Twitter at a Geek Show. There's basically a geek show at gmail.com. And then we are on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher, and of course, basically a sportshow.com. A shout out to the glorious Tournament of Victory, which is just gotten underway. Sentinel Prime Memorial Region of Excellence, first seed, Segata Senshiro. Go, man.
But how is Greg doing with Donald Trump's hair?
Donald Trump's hair actually, unfortunately, isn't in anyone's bracket.
Greg, I know you'll hear this. You disappoint me.
I do have in my bracket, though, Ted Cruz's hair grease.
No, you fucking failed too, you fucking jackass.
I didn't put it in because I thought Greg was putting it in.
No. If you're going to go Ted Cruz's anything, the booger on Ted Cruz's lip, You fucking Jew, you dropped the ball.
It actually came down to Ted Cruz's hair grease and versus Ted Cruz's second watch.
No, Ted Cruz's booger. God damn it.
How is it? Okay. God damn it. How is it that Ed Miliband eats a bacon sandwich rarely and he doesn't get to be prime minister? But Ted Cruz eats a booger on national television and he just keeps going.
He won't be going for much longer.
Yes, but that'll do it for basically a Geek Show. If you want more politics, Jack and I will be joined by Greg for another basically a political show to discuss some of the more recent happenings since Super Tuesday.
Oh, when will we be doing that? Do you know?
I do not know for sure. I have to see what time works for Greg and then run it by you and then work something out from that. But,
okay, so we'll be doing it at some point. All hail Uberführer Trump.
We will. We'll get back to you guys.
Or actually vote for me, and I'll show you my wee-wee. Or not. I mean, if you'd rather.
I mean, it looks like it's interesting on both sides because Bernie Sanders has outright stated that no matter what happens from here on out, he's just going to keep going till the convention, and he's going to go to the convention. He's going to try to get this thing down to the wire. So it looks like both conventions have the possibility to be complete and utter shitstorms.
Well, America, basically.
Well, anyway, good people out in internet land, I will see you later.
Good night, everybody.